What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 2 of the Finestein career mode in FIFA 21, and the last video, which of course was the debut of this new series. It started off pretty poorly, getting ourselves just absolutely mollywashed. I do recommend you go watch that, but we were able to end it on a positive note, and hopefully we can continue with that kind of form in this video. And as you can see right here, I've scouted a lot of players. I've got a lot of phenomenal players that I'm really looking into and that I believe can really help this club move forward. In particular, looking at Boadu, looking at Saliba. I definitely think, or Saliba, I should say. So I believe that, getting a guy like Saliba is definitely very, very helpful because, first of all, he's an excellent player for the future, one that could really grow into a top footballer. But we're also weakening the future of a rival club like Arsenal for a pretty low fee too. So that's something that's very important. Trying to get Quaresma for not really the same reason, or he's a very promising footballer, especially when you think of people that are coming from Sporting or from Porto. You pretty much always guarantee yourself a quality footballer, but he's obviously not from a rival, but at the same time it would be good to get him. Unfortunately, we weren't able to. We got Onoma sold to the Portland Timbers, which is obviously good because we're adding some money to our account, or at least we're hoping to, because obviously it remains to be seen if he accepts terms with Portland. We're going to go ahead and add Saliba to the team. I checked Anderson, and he more or less peaks at around 82, which is definitely not a bad overall for somebody for us to be starting off with, because it means that we don't necessarily have to sign a center back immediately. Obviously, 82 isn't that high, but it's definitely not that low either, considering the rest of the team. So I do believe that we need an extra center back that can grow to higher than 82, but it would still be okay to start off the season with him as a starting center back. I have an opportunity here against Hoffenheim to move into the final, and we start brilliantly with a beautiful cross there from Tete, who finds Mitrovic. And I just want to kind of evidence this to you guys. Like, we're dealing with a team right here, and this could be, if I'm not mistaken, this is, apart from Salford, which obviously it doesn't count because that was a team in League 2. This is the worst team I have ever started a career mode with, that in a top flight, whether it's Serie A, whether it's Premier League, etc. Like I said, not counting teams that are in lower leagues. Starting off in the Premier League, this is, I think, the worst team I have ever taken over at the start of a career mode, as De Cordova has an opportunity and not able to get past the goalkeeper. Even for Salford, for example, I took over a team that arguably was the best in their league. So even that, it's not like, for their level, they were a really top team, as Hoffenheim starting to pound us. In the last 10 minutes here. See if we can close this match out. Reed with a beautiful pass into Tete. Caballero making a great run, and there it is, 2-0. That's game, set, and match. It is over. Hoffenheim is going home. We're moving on to the final. Beautiful football here from Fulham. And as I was saying, Salford were excellent for that league, and Fulham was actually a club that I used to start off with pretty often. I used to pretty much always start with your United, with Cagliari in Serie A, or with Fulham in the Premier League if I wanted to start off with a weak team. But the thing is, even in that old Fulham team, I'm talking about FIFA 10, etc. There were players like Dempsey in that team. There was Berbatov at one point. There were always players around 80 overall. So never really shit players. There was never really a fully shit team. This Fulham side, with all due respect, is definitely low quality. The best player we have is essentially Mitrovic, and that's saying a lot. No disrespect to Mitrovic, he's just not a world-class player. He never will be. He's a decent player. We saw him with Newcastle a couple years ago when he burst on the scene in the Premier League. But at 25 years of age, he's a 77 overall. I don't really think he's going to be growing too much. We're going to try to sell, or not really try to sell him, but Brighton are offering only 15.3, and that's not a bad offer for a 77 overall. The problem is he's our best player, so we're gonna have to sell him for quite a bit if we want to accept it. And there you go. They don't want to accept a 25 million fee for Mitrovic, which I can respect because I wouldn't have paid it either. We're gonna try to get Myron Boadu from AZ Alkmaar. This is actually a really, really good player right here, a guy that's really promising, and they accept our offer, which is great. I was going to look for I think what's the guy's name? Isaac from Espanyol, but they wanted too much money. They're looking for 20.5 a week, which isn't bad. and a 210 signing bonus for almost $1 million when he scores 20 goals. But fuck it, it's worth it. We're getting a guy who's got a lot of talent. He's fast as hell. His finishing is actually really good for a guy who's 75 overall. So at the end of the day, I do believe it's worth it. We'll see in the long run if it is, but it's a risk worth taking, in my opinion, especially considering we already have a big physical striker. So we can play with him as a target man, and we can play with Boadu getting in behind, which is something that I love to do in career modes. Unfortunately, Ultimate Team is completely broken. I will be doing a video about that in the next couple of days. So you can't really play like that in Ultimate Team. You can't really play like actual football in Ultimate Team. You have to just kind of play spammy football, which is bullshit, which is why I'm once again quitting it. I do believe that it's like this is if you want to have actual fun playing actual football, then play career mode, because you can actually play with strategies and tactics and formations that are actually fun and efficient in real life, as opposed to just having to use that meta that meta style, whether it be formation type of players, etc. So yeah, we're going into the final now. Now let's not forget, if we win this, we get like $7 million. Well, no, okay, we start off on the wrong foot with Wolfsburg getting the first goal, but I do like their kits, actually. Like, I have to say that I do tend to like Wolfsburg kits. They're actually pretty damn good. This one not so much, but the one from last year, the blue and green, that one was really, really nice. Boadu, showing immediately why I signed this man. I mean, his weak foot, that's his weak foot, and he just perfectly placed it into the bottom corner. And you do really have to take a look at that in FIFA. Like, whether it's career mode or Ultimate Team or whatever, you really do have to look at that, because that's going to score you a lot of goals or miss you a lot of chances if it's anywhere from 3 or lower, because 3 or lower is not what you want. You want 4 stars. At least one of your strikers needs to have 4 stars, and thankfully Boadu is a beast. Seri gets in behind the defense, finds Reina, who scores. I think that might be his first goal. Is it his first or second goal? I don't think. No, he didn't score against Hoffenheim. I believe that was his first match. But that's a great way to start his career with Fulham, getting himself a nice little goal against a good team. We're not playing against bums. We're playing against Wolfsburg. This is a decent team here, as he beats Mbabu to the ball to finish it. We got Reed being chased down by Roussillon. Roussillon is fast as shit, but he's got no stamina. Reed's going to find Robinson, and we have another American scoring coming off the bench. That's just really good to see, man. I want to see a lot of players contributing this season, because I feel like when you have a squad like ours, which isn't that deep, doesn't really have that much quality, you really do need to rely on squad depth, and that's kind of something I'm trying to build, which is why we're not really selling any players that are even of a decent quality. We're only selling players that are essentially useless, and trying to bring in some starters and have some decent players on the bench as we win our first trophy. Obviously, it's not really a trophy that you can talk about or brag about in any way whatsoever, because it is just a preseason tournament, but fuck it, man. It's still better than nothing. I can't even remember the last time that Fulham won a trophy. That wasn't, I don't think they didn't win the championship last year, I don't think. So, yeah, I can't remember the last time they won a trophy. Honestly, they came close in the Europa League about 10 years ago when they lost in the final, but fair play to them. They beat Juventus that season to get to the final, which was obviously, the final was actually played at the Juventus Stadium, the now known Allianz Stadium. So it was a really, really shocking result. I remember, man, like being an American here in Italy, everybody was like, "Oh man, Dempsey's shit. Dempsey's this. Dempsey's that." That motherfucker beat them down and took them to the final. Juventus fans here were supremely pissed off, and I think that's probably the first moment where, at least my friends, because obviously I don't know Juventus fans that I don't know, that's like the first moment where they started to realize that there are actually good American footballers around, as opposed to just a bunch of physical guys who are basically just good at, from the athletic point of view, they were good, but other than that, they weren't that great. But Dempsey really was, I think, the first American to really show what can be done on the European stage. Obviously, having played with Fulham for a long time, but also playing with Spurs and doing pretty well with them. So I think that was a huge moment for American football. And now you can see just the amount of quality around the world with American football, with McKennie, with Dest. I mean, we're talking about just excellent players. Obviously, Pulisic. We have amazing players all across Europe, and I think we have a very promising foundation to build upon, as we have the confirmation that we've sold Johansson. So 1.7 million go to our transfer budget, which is obviously good. We have sold McDonald as well to Antwerp, who just beat. These guys just beat Tottenham Hotspur last night, 1-0. Absolutely absurd. I mean, Mourinho must be fucking pissed. We're going to try to sign Daniel Maldini, and the reason I'm signing him, or I want to try to sign him, is for my main man, Joe Pina. He's a huge Milan fan. Obviously, he's probably going to be pissed off about this now that I think about it, because there's kind of a rule that every Maldini has to play for Milan. And yeah, I'm kind of ruining that right now. But Joe Pina, let me know in the comments if you're pissed, if you're happy. What I'm going to try to grow this man into a supreme pupillo on the pitch, as well as obviously in real life. We're going to try to sign Brandon Williams as well. I believe this guy has infinite talent. I see him more as a right back than a left back, but to be honest, like, given the situation in our team as well, I do feel like him playing a left back is probably better for us anyway. We're going to go ahead and accept $17 million because it's actually that's not high at all for what his potential is. I believe he can probably go over 85, and he's just, he's a pupillo. He's a guy I really, really like in real life, and I think he's going to be an excellent player for United moving forward, and I do believe he's going to be a huge player for Albert Finestein's Fulham going forward. We're going to accept what they want from terms of wages. There's no point in trying to negotiate there. I'm happy with it. And we've added a very, very good high potential player to our lineup. As you can see, I mean, we're going to go ahead and put in some of our new signings. Going to take out Brian, who is also very slow. I mean, he's just not that good at all. We're going to put in Brandon Williams. We have Maldini, who will be put on the bench. But let's go ahead and take a look at what we can kind of do around here. We're going to go ahead and run with this formation for the most part, because I do feel like it gives a lot of balance, and it gives a lot of... It's just kind of a safe formation to run when you don't have an excellent team. We don't really have any good wingers, and those guys usually cost more than what I'm trying to build right now, so we'll save that for when we have more money. We're going to go ahead and take out De Cordova-Reid, because he's just not that good. He's a decent footballer, but like somebody who can kind of do some damage on the bench because of his pace, but we have better players for that. So as we go into the first match of the season in the next video, which will be against Liverpool, which is going to be very difficult, as you can imagine. The match finished 4-0, I think it was, for Liverpool in real life. So see if we can do better than that in the game. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and let me know in the comment section down below what you think of the signings I made in this video, guys. And as always, really just from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for all of you guys that give me support, and I will see you in the next video.